Who wrote the novel, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Ken Kesey. Ken Kesey's 1962 novel, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, is a powerful critique of psychiatric institutions and a seminal work of counterculture literature. It explores themes of individuality, rebellion against conformity, and the nature of sanity. Visage is French for which part of the body? Face. The word visage is derived from Old French and ultimately from Latin, visus, meaning sight or appearance. It formally refers to a person's face, especially with regard to its shape or features, and can also denote the expression of the face. The stolen generations were children of which country who were taken from their families to be adopted or brought up by the state? Australia. The stolen generations refer to the estimated 100,000 Indigenous Australian children who were forcibly removed from their families by Australian federal and state government agencies and church missions between 1910 and 1970. This policy aimed at assimilation and had devastating long-term impacts on individuals and communities, leading to widespread trauma and loss of culture. The Long March took place in which country in 1934-35? China. The Long March was a military retreat undertaken by the Red Army of the Communist Party of China to evade the pursuit of the Kuomintang Army during the Chinese Civil War. Over 9,000 kilometers, it established Mao Zedong as a dominant leader and became a significant moment in the history of the Communist Revolution in China. What is the title of the only published novel by J.D. Salinger? The Catcher in the Rye. J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, published in 1951, is his only full-length novel and remains a highly influential work of 20th-century American literature. The novel explores themes of alienation, innocence, and the struggles of adolescence through the perspective of its protagonist, Holden Caulfield, and is often studied for its distinctive narrative voice. The river Danube empties into which body of water? Black Sea. The river Danube is the second longest river in Europe, flowing through 10 countries before emptying into the Black Sea. Its delta, shared by Romania and Ukraine, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, known for its rich biodiversity and extensive wetlands. In which year was the Cannes Film Festival founded? 1946. The Cannes Film Festival, one of the world's most prestigious and widely publicized international film festivals, was founded in 1946. Held annually in Cannes, France, it serves as a global platform for showcasing new films of all genres and is a major cultural event in the international cinema calendar. In 1497, which explorer, John Cabot, is credited with being the first European to land on mainland North America? Cabot. John Cabot, an Italian explorer sailing under the English flag, made his historic voyage in 1497, landing in what is believed to be present-day Newfoundland, Canada. His expedition marked a significant early European contact with mainland North America, laying groundwork for future British claims. In which anatomical region of an animal is the cannon bone located? Leg. The cannon bone is a long bone found in the lower part of the leg of many hoofed mammals, particularly prominent in horses and cattle. It is a fusion of metacarpal or metatarsal bones, providing structural support and strength to the limb. In the field of medicine, what specific physiological function does a spirograph measure and record? Breathing movements. A spirograph is a medical instrument used in spirometry, a common pulmonary function test. It measures the volume and flow of air during inhalation and exhalation, providing crucial data for diagnosing various respiratory conditions such as asthma and COPD. Who is the playwright responsible for the acclaimed trilogy of plays titled The Norman Conquests? Alan Ayckbourn. The Norman Conquests is a renowned trilogy of comedies written by British playwright Alan Ayckbourn, first performed in 1973. The three plays, Table Manners, Living Together, and Round the Garden, depict the same weekend from different perspectives, showcasing Ayckbourn's mastery of comedic structure and character development. Heteropoda David Bowie is the name given to which rare yellow creature in 2009? Spider. Heteropoda David Bowie is a species of huntsman spider named after musician David Bowie. This practice of naming newly discovered species after famous personalities is known as eponymy and helps raise public awareness about biodiversity and scientific discovery. The 2008 film, Valkyrie, depicts the 1944 plot to assassinate which political figure? Adolf Hitler. The 2008 film, Valkyrie, is based on the 20th of July plot of 1944, an attempt by a group of German officers, led by Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg, to assassinate Adolf Hitler and overthrow the Nazi regime during World War II. The plot ultimately failed, leading to severe reprisals. Tansu Çiller was the first woman prime minister of which European country? Turkey. Tansu Çiller served as the first and only female Prime Minister of Turkey from 1993 to 1996. Her tenure marked a significant moment in Turkish political history, reflecting the country's secular and democratic traditions. Which London Underground station has the longest escalator? Angel. Angel Station on the Northern Line of the London Underground boasts the longest escalator in the entire network. It measures 60 meters, 197 feet, in length and has a vertical rise of 27.5 meters, 90 feet, connecting the surface to the deep-level platforms. Elizabeth Annie Everest was the childhood nanny of which British Prime Minister? Winston Churchill. Elizabeth Annie Everest was the beloved childhood nanny of Winston Churchill, who served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom twice. Churchill held a deep affection for Mrs. Everest, often referring to her as his dearest nanny, and considering her a significant maternal figure in his early life. In 1999, who became the first female president of Switzerland? Ruth Dreiwers. Ruth Dreiwers became the first female president of Switzerland in 1999. Switzerland's presidency rotates annually among the members of the seven-member Federal Council, and her election was a landmark event for gender equality in the country's political landscape. Who wrote the 1902 autobiography, The Story of My Life? Helen Keller. The Story of My Life is the autobiography of Helen Keller, published in 1902. It chronicles her early life, her journey through blindness and deafness, and her extraordinary education with her teacher Annie Sullivan, inspiring millions worldwide with her resilience and achievements. The Andaman Sea is known by what other name? Burma Sea. The Andaman Sea is also known as the Burma Sea. It is a marginal sea of the northeastern Indian Ocean, bordering Myanmar, Thailand, and Malaysia, and is located southeast of the Bay of Bengal, west of the Malay Peninsula. What was the name of Peter the Great's daughter who became Empress of Russia in 1741? Elizaveta Petrovna. Elizabeth Petrovna, daughter of Peter the Great and Catherine I, became Empress of Russia in 1741 following a coup d'état. Her reign, lasting until 1762, is often considered a golden age of the Russian Empire, known for its cultural flourishing and the abolition of internal customs duties. From which country does Dunlop cheese originate? Scotland. Dunlop cheese is a traditional hard cheese originating from Ayrshire, Scotland. It has a rich history dating back to the 17th century and is named after the village of Dunlop, where it was first produced. It is recognized as a Protected Geographical Indication (PGI) product. U.S. investigative reporter and author Clifford Irving is best known for his 1971 hoax autobiography of which reclusive businessman? Howard Hughes. Clifford Irving famously fabricated an autobiography of the reclusive billionaire Howard Hughes in 1971, claiming it was based on extensive interviews. The hoax unraveled when Hughes himself publicly denied its authenticity, leading to Irving's conviction and imprisonment for fraud. This incident became a significant scandal in publishing history. Quercus is the Latin botanical name for which tree genus? Oak. Quercus is the genus name for oak trees, encompassing over 600 species of deciduous and evergreen trees and shrubs. Oaks are known for their distinctively lobed leaves and acorns, playing a significant ecological role and being culturally important in many regions. What method of counting is known as dactylonomy? Counting using fingers. Dactylonomy refers to the practice of counting using fingers and thumbs, a method employed across various cultures for millennia. It is one of the earliest forms of numerical representation and remains a common technique for basic counting. An insulinoma is a tumor of which organ of the body? Pancreas. An insulinoma is a rare tumor of the pancreas that produces excessive amounts of insulin, leading to dangerously low blood sugar levels, hypoglycemia. These tumors are typically benign but can cause significant health issues due to their hormonal overactivity. In Roman mythology, who is the god of fire, volcanoes, metalworking, and the forge? Vulcan. Vulcan is the Roman god of fire, volcanoes, metalworking, and the forge, often depicted as a lame craftsman. He corresponds to the Greek god Hephaestus and was worshipped with festivals like the Volcanalia, demonstrating his importance in protecting against destructive fires. What is the first name of Halley, after whom the famous comet is named? Edmund. Edmund Halley was an English astronomer, geophysicist, and mathematician, famous for computing the orbit of the comet that bears his name. He accurately predicted its return in 1758, a monumental achievement in celestial mechanics. Which famous steam locomotive, completed in 1923, was renowned for its service between London and Edinburgh? Flying Scotsman. The Flying Scotsman is an iconic steam locomotive, built in 1923 for the London and North Eastern Railway, LNER. It was the first steam locomotive to officially achieve 100 miles per hour and complete a non-stop run from London to Edinburgh, becoming a symbol of British engineering. The Shinkansen, Japan's network of high-speed railway lines, is also known by what common name? Bullet train. The Shinkansen is a network of high-speed railway lines in Japan, pioneered in the 1960s. Known as the bullet train, due to its streamlined appearance and speed, it revolutionized rail travel, setting standards for efficiency and punctuality worldwide. In which country is SNCF, the state-owned railway company, primarily located? France. SNCF, Société Nationale des Chemins de Fer Français, is France's national state-owned railway company. It operates the country's national railway network and is responsible for passenger and freight rail transport services. In May 1994, Queen Elizabeth II and which French president formally inaugurated the Channel Tunnel? François Mitterrand. The Channel Tunnel, connecting the United Kingdom and France, was officially opened on May 6, 1994, by Queen Elizabeth II and French President François Mitterrand. This landmark engineering project significantly improved transport links between the two nations and Europe. In June 1883, the inaugural journey of the Orient Express departed from Paris, with which European city as its initial destination? Vienna. The Orient Express began its legendary service on June 5, 1883, departing from Paris Gare de l'Est for Vienna. This luxury long-distance passenger train service, initially connecting Western Europe with the East, became famous for its opulence and route through several European capitals. What was the name of the renowned steam locomotive constructed by Robert Stephenson and Company in 1829? Rocket. The Rocket was an advanced steam locomotive built by Robert Stephenson and Company in 1829. It famously won the Rainhill trials, demonstrating the superiority of steam power for railways and significantly influencing early locomotive design and development. Wotan and Belpaire are specific types of which essential component found in steam locomotives? Firebox. Wotan and Belpaire refer to distinct designs of fireboxes used in steam locomotives. The firebox is the crucial part where fuel is burned to heat water and create steam, and these designs aim to improve efficiency and fuel combustion. Grand Central Terminal, or Grand Central Station, is located at 42nd Street and which avenue in Midtown Manhattan in New York? Park Avenue. Grand Central Terminal is a world-renowned transportation hub and architectural landmark in New York City. Its iconic location at 42nd Street and Park Avenue makes it a significant point of interest for urban geography, cultural studies, and general knowledge regarding global cities. Who was the first British monarch to travel by train? Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria made history as the first British monarch to travel by train in 1842, from Slough to Paddington. This event symbolized the increasing adoption of railway technology and its integration into the lives of even the highest echelons of British society during the Victorian era. Which U.S. president nationalized American railways in 1917 under the Federal Possession and Control Act? Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, the 28th U.S. President, nationalized American railways in 1917 under the Federal Possession and Control Act. This emergency measure was taken during World War I to ensure efficient transportation of troops, equipment, and supplies, demonstrating significant government intervention in the economy during wartime. Who was named the greatest Briton of all time in a 2002 poll? Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, a pivotal figure in 20th century British and world history, was voted the greatest Briton of all time in a 2002 BBC poll. His resolute leadership during World War II and powerful oratory cemented his legacy as a statesman, strategist, and national hero. In which European city was Crimean War nurse Florence Nightingale born? Florence. Florence Nightingale, the pioneering nurse and social reformer, was born in Florence, Italy, in 1820, which influenced her given name. Her foundational work during the Crimean War and subsequent efforts to improve hospital sanitation and nursing training revolutionized modern healthcare practices worldwide. The St. Johns River is the longest river in which U.S. state? Florida. The St. Johns River is the longest river entirely within Florida, flowing generally northward for approximately 310 miles before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean. It is unique among major North American rivers for its northerly flow, making it a significant geographical feature and ecological corridor in the state. Sir Edward Burgh was the first husband of which wife of English monarch King Henry VIII? Catherine Parr. Catherine Parr was the sixth and last wife of King Henry VIII. Her first husband was Sir Edward Burgh, who passed away before her marriage to the king. English architect Sir Horace Jones designed which London bridge? Tower Bridge. Sir Horace Jones, along with John Wolfe Barry, is credited with designing the iconic Tower Bridge in London. This celebrated landmark, completed in 1894, is a notable example of Victorian engineering and Gothic revival architecture. A group of which birds is known as a charm? Finches. A charm is the specific collective noun used to describe a group of finches. This unique terminology is part of ornithological vocabulary, reflecting the distinct characteristics or behaviors of various bird species. On which island is the former royal residence Osborne House, built for Queen Victoria and Prince Albert? Isle of Wight. Osborne House, a prominent former royal residence, is located on the Isle of Wight, England. It was constructed between 1845 and 1851 as a private and intimate retreat for Queen Victoria and her consort, Prince Albert. In which year was gender testing introduced in the Olympic Games? 1968. Gender verification, often referred to as gender testing, was formally introduced at the Olympic Games in 1968 in Mexico City. The practice has undergone significant changes and scrutiny due to evolving scientific understanding and ethical considerations surrounding gender identity in sports. The aurora borealis, northern lights, is named after the Roman goddess of what? The dawn. The aurora borealis, also known as the northern lights, is named after Aurora, the Roman goddess of dawn, and Boreas, the Greek name for the north wind. This celestial phenomenon is a natural light display in the Earth's sky, predominantly observed in high-latitude regions. Brazo is Spanish for which part of the body? Arm. Brazo is the Spanish word for arm. This vocabulary is part of fundamental general knowledge, particularly for widely spoken Romance languages like Spanish. 40 Years On is the title of the first West End play by which British playwright? Alan Bennett. Alan Bennett is a celebrated English playwright, screenwriter, actor, and author. 40 Years On, 1968, was his first major West End play, a satirical review reflecting on English public school life and history. A sculpin is what type of creature? Fish. Sculpins are a diverse family of ray-finned fish, primarily found in marine and freshwater environments. They are characterized by their large heads, broad mouths, and often spiny bodies, typically dwelling on the seabed. Which opera by Mozart is also known as The Day of Madness? The Marriage of Figaro. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's opera, Le Nozze di Figaro, The Marriage of Figaro, premiered in 1786. It is a comedic opera buffa, in 4 acts, based on Pierre Beaumarchais's stage comedy, La Folie Journée, ou Le Mariage de Figaro. What color is the cross on the national flag of Tonga? Red. The national flag of Tonga features a red Latin cross on a white canton, set against a red field. The red cross symbolizes Christianity, while the red field represents the blood of Christ, and the white signifies purity. Which London retailer had the telephone number 1 as its own number in the early 20th century? Selfridge & Co. Selfridge & Company was founded by Harry Gordon Selfridge and opened in 1909 on Oxford Street, London. It quickly became a prominent department store known for its innovative marketing and customer experience, and indeed had the notable telephone number 1 in its early days. What is the name of the island which lies in the middle of the Niagara Falls? Goat Island. Goat Island is a small island located in the Niagara River, between the American and Bridal Veil Falls, which are part of Niagara Falls. It is a popular tourist destination, offering views of the falls and connections to the mainland via bridges. Melanophobia is the irrational fear of which color? Black. Melanophobia is a specific phobia characterized by an irrational and excessive fear of the color black. Like other phobias, it can stem from traumatic experiences or learned associations, leading to avoidance behaviors and significant distress. Holly Golightly is the heroine of which novel by Truman Capote? Breakfast at Tiffany's. Breakfast at Tiffany's is a novella by Truman Capote, published in 1958. It features the iconic character Holly Golightly, a free-spirited socialite living in New York City, and explores themes of loneliness, identity, and the American dream. Balham, Clapham, and Peckham are districts of which British city? London. Balham, Clapham, and Peckham are distinct residential and commercial districts located in South London. These areas are well known for their vibrant communities, historical architecture, and significant transport links within the UK capital. According to biblical accounts, who did the Queen of Sheba test the wisdom of? Solomon. The Queen of Sheba is famously depicted in the Hebrew Bible, and later in the Quran and Ethiopian history, as visiting King Solomon in Jerusalem. She sought to test his legendary wisdom with a series of riddles and difficult questions, ultimately acknowledging his unparalleled sagacity and wealth. Who was the father of the English monarch King Edward I? King Henry III. King Edward I, known as Longshanks and Hammer of the Scots, was the son of King Henry III. Edward's reign, from 1272 to 1307, was instrumental in shaping English law and its relationship with Wales and Scotland, following his father's long and often tumultuous rule. Ernesto Geisel became president of which South American country in 1974? Brazil. Ernesto Geisel, a prominent general, served as the 29th president of Brazil from 1974 to 1979 during the military dictatorship. He is credited with initiating a period of gradual political liberalization and distension, which eventually led to the end of military rule in the country. In which US state was Microsoft founded by Bill Gates in April 1975? New Mexico. Microsoft, a multinational technology corporation, was co-founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in April 1975. The company later moved its headquarters to Washington state, but its genesis in New Mexico marks a significant event in the history of personal computing. What is the national flower of Nepal? Rhododendron. The rhododendron is the national flower of Nepal, a country renowned for its rich biodiversity and Himalayan landscapes. This vibrant flower is culturally significant and is often associated with the beauty of the region's mountainous terrain. Elizabeth Barrett, a prominent poet, married which fellow poet and playwright in 1846? Robert Browning. Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning were two of the most celebrated poets of the Victorian era. Their marriage in 1846 was a famous literary romance, and their works significantly influenced English poetry, known for their lyrical depth and exploration of human emotion. In medical terminology, renal calculus is another term for what condition? Kidney stone. Renal calculus, commonly known as a kidney stone, refers to a solid mass formed from crystals in the urine. These stones can develop in the kidneys and may cause severe pain if they obstruct the urinary tract, requiring medical intervention. Caesarophobia describes the irrational fear of which specific family members? Parents-in-law. Caesarophobia is a specific phobia characterized by an intense and irrational fear of one's parents-in-law. Like other phobias, it can significantly impact an individual's social interactions and mental well-being, often requiring therapeutic approaches for management. Which country invaded and subsequently controls the northern part of the island of Cyprus? Turkey. Turkey invaded Cyprus in 1974 following a coup d'état aimed at uniting the island with Greece. This led to the division of Cyprus, with Turkey controlling the northern third, which it later established as the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, recognized only by Turkey. The conflict remains a significant geopolitical issue. Which religious movement, developed from the ideas of political activist Marcus Garvey, sought to improve the status of black people and proclaims Garvey as a prophet? Rastafari. Rastafari is an Abrahamic religion that developed in Jamaica in the 1930s, originating among marginalized black communities. It emphasizes Pan-Africanism, black liberation, and considers Marcus Garvey a significant prophet, drawing heavily from his political and social philosophy. The Incas referred to which precious metal as tears of the sun? Gold. The Inca Empire, a prominent pre-Columbian civilization in the Andes, held gold in extremely high regard. They referred to gold metaphorically as tears of the sun, due to its shining appearance and its deep association with Inti, their revered sun deity and a central figure in their religious cosmology. In humans, the medical condition enuresis refers to what involuntary function? Urination. Enuresis is the medical term for the involuntary discharge of urine, most commonly known as bedwetting, particularly when it occurs during sleep or without conscious control. This condition is prevalent in children but can also affect adults due to various physiological or psychological factors. Seersucker is what type of fabric? Cotton. Seersucker is a lightweight, crinkled fabric traditionally made from cotton. Its distinctive puckered texture is achieved through a specific weaving technique where some threads are woven tightly and others loosely, making it highly breathable and a popular choice for warm weather apparel. The 1999 nonfiction book, Black Hawk Down, by Mark Bowden chronicles the events of which 1993 battle? Battle of Mogadishu. Mark Bowden's acclaimed nonfiction book, Black Hawk Down, a story of modern war, meticulously recounts the events of the Battle of Mogadishu, which occurred in October 1993 in Somalia. This intense urban conflict involved U.S. Army Rangers and Delta Force operators in a fierce engagement against Somali militia forces. Which chemical element is represented by the symbol Cn? Copernicium. Copernicium, Cn, is a synthetic chemical element with atomic number 112. It is an extremely radioactive element that can only be produced in a laboratory setting through nuclear fusion reactions and has a very short half-life. Which historical figure was said to have told his tailor to sew buttons onto the sleeves of his soldiers' jackets to stop them wiping their noses on their sleeves? Napoleon Bonaparte. This popular anecdote, though debated regarding its historical accuracy, is often attributed to Napoleon Bonaparte. It illustrates a practical solution for maintaining hygiene and discipline among his troops. Fodder is the Spanish word for which item of clothing? Skirt. Fodder is a common Spanish noun meaning skirt. Knowledge of basic vocabulary from major Romance languages like Spanish is sometimes included in competitive exams as general cultural or linguistic awareness. In the 17th century, which Eurasian country ordered men to pay a tax on their beard, in order to keep them clean-shaven? Russia. Peter the Great of Russia levied a beard tax in 1698 as part of his efforts to westernize the country. This policy aimed to encourage men to adopt European fashion and customs, reflecting a significant cultural shift during his reign. Which natural facial feature does Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa famously lack? Eyebrows. The absence of eyebrows and eyelashes on the Mona Lisa is a well-known characteristic of the painting, completed by Leonardo da Vinci between 1503 and 1519. This detail has led to various interpretations and contributes to the enigmatic quality of her smile. From 1784 to 1811, the British government levied a tax on which item of men's attire? Hats. The British hat tax was introduced in 1784 by Prime Minister William Pitt the Younger as a revenue-generating measure. This tax, applying to various types of hats, demonstrates historical attempts by governments to levy taxes on consumer goods. In 16th century Italy, what were chopines? Platform shoes. Chopines were a type of platform shoe popular in 16th century Venice, Italy. Worn primarily by women, their height indicated social status and protected the wearer's garments from mud and street refuse. In 1913, New York socialite Mary Phelps Jacob created the first modern version of which item of clothing out of two silk handkerchiefs? The brassiere. Mary Phelps Jacob, later Caress Crosby, is credited with patenting the first modern brassiere in 1914, creating it from two silk handkerchiefs and a ribbon. Her invention offered a lighter and more comfortable alternative to the restrictive corsets prevalent at the time. What style of coat was referred to in the Royal Navy as a convoy coat? Duffel coat. The duffel coat gained prominence during World War I and II, notably among the British Royal Navy where it was known as the convoy coat. Its thick wool, toggle fastenings, and large hood made it ideal for harsh weather conditions at sea, providing essential warmth and protection for sailors. What type of garment was a justicorps worn by men in the 17th and 18th centuries? Coat. The justicorps was a knee-length, fitted coat worn by men in Western Europe from the 1660s to the mid-18th century. It became a staple of fashionable menswear, evolving from military styles and influencing the development of the modern suit coat. From which Shakespearean play is the line, "Neither a borrower nor a lender be taken"? Hamlet. This famous line is spoken by Polonius to his son Latus in Act 1, Scene 3 of William Shakespeare's Hamlet. It is part of Polonius's advice to his son before Latus departs for France, cautioning against both debt and lending to maintain financial independence and integrity. Shavuot is a major festival in which religion? Judaism. Shavuot is a Jewish festival that commemorates the giving of the Torah to Moses at Mount Sinai. It is observed 7 weeks after Passover, marking the culmination of the Omer counting period. What type of creature is a koel? Bird. A koel is a genus of cuckoos, known for their distinctive calls and brood parasitic behavior. They lay their eggs in the nests of other bird species, relying on the host parents to raise their young. In which year was Ferdinand Marcos first elected as President of the Philippines? 1965. Ferdinand Marcos was first elected President of the Philippines in 1965. His long tenure was marked by authoritarian rule, martial law, and significant human rights abuses, ultimately leading to the People Power Revolution in 1986. Who was the first actress to win an Oscar for a performance entirely in a foreign language? Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren made history by becoming the first actress to win an Academy Award for her performance entirely in a foreign language. She received the Best Actress Oscar for her role in the 1960 Italian film, Two Women. Stanford University is in which U.S. state? California. Stanford University is a leading private research university located in Stanford, California. Situated in Silicon Valley, it is renowned for its academic excellence, particularly in engineering, computer science, and entrepreneurship. Scientist Albert Einstein was born in which country? Germany. Albert Einstein, the theoretical physicist famous for developing the theory of relativity, was born in Ulm, Kingdom of Württemberg, German Empire. He is widely recognized as one of the most influential scientists in history. In Native American folklore, what is the beast that walks like a man? Bear. Native American folklore often features animals with human-like characteristics and roles in their narratives. Bears, due to their bipedal stance and intelligence, frequently appear as powerful and symbolic figures in various tribal traditions and creation myths. From which organ in the human body do cranial nerves emerge directly? Brain. Cranial nerves are a set of 12 pairs of nerves that emerge directly from the brain and brainstem, primarily serving the head and neck region. They are crucial for sensory functions, motor control, and autonomic regulation, distinguishing them from spinal nerves that emerge from the spinal cord. If a creature is described as spinulous, what small anatomical feature do they possess? Backbone, spine. The term spinulous in biology refers to having small spines or spicules, which are sharp, needle-like structures. In the context of a creature's anatomy, it generally implies the presence of a small backbone or spiny projections, often observed in invertebrates or certain skeletal features. The Chao Phraya River is located in which Asian country? Thailand. The Chao Phraya River is a major river in Thailand, flowing through Bangkok and central Thailand before emptying into the Gulf of Thailand. It is an economically significant waterway, vital for transport, agriculture, and supporting a dense population along its banks. In which constituent country of the United Kingdom are legislative acts referred to as Assembly Bills? Wales. Assembly Bills refer to legislation passed by the Senedd, Welsh Parliament, which is the devolved legislature of Wales. These bills cover areas such as education, health, and agriculture, reflecting the unique legislative powers granted to Wales within the United Kingdom's devolution framework. Bare-nosed and hairy-nosed are the two basic types of which marsupial? Wombat. Wombats are burrowing marsupials native to Australia, known for their powerful claws and backward-facing pouch. The two main types, bare-nosed, or common, wombats and hairy-nosed wombats, northern and southern, are distinguished by their nasal characteristics and slight differences in habitat and morphology. The Oxo Tower is a landmark in which European city? London. The Oxo Tower, located on the south bank of the River Thames in London, is a prominent landmark known for its distinctive neon, OXO, sign. Originally a power station, it was converted into a commercial and residential building with a popular restaurant and bar offering panoramic views of the city. Refusing to ignore people in crisis is the slogan of which charity? British Red Cross. Refusing to ignore people in crisis is the official slogan of the British Red Cross, a humanitarian aid organization that provides emergency response and disaster relief both domestically and internationally. It is part of the global Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, focusing on protecting human life and health, ensuring respect for all human beings, and preventing and alleviating human suffering. Edward VII was the only British monarch to have been born and died at which royal residence? Buckingham Palace. Edward VII, who reigned from 1901 to 1910, holds the unique distinction among British monarchs of having both his birth, 1841, and death, 1910, occur at Buckingham Palace. This fact highlights the palace's long-standing role as the official residence and administrative headquarters of the monarch of the United Kingdom. Which religious community refers to outsiders as the English? Amish. The Amish, a group of traditionalist Anabaptist Christian church fellowships with Swiss German and Alsatian origins, often refer to all non-Amish individuals as the English. This terminology reflects their distinct cultural and social separation from the wider modern society, which they perceive as unified under this broad label, regardless of actual ethnicity or language. Who was the first Roman Catholic President of the United States? John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy, elected in 1960, was the first and only Roman Catholic to serve as President of the United States. His election was a significant moment in American political history, overcoming historical prejudices and demonstrating a growing acceptance of religious diversity in national leadership. What is the Scottish city known by the nickname, Auld Reekie? Edinburgh. Auld Reekie is a traditional Scottish nickname for Edinburgh, Scotland's capital. The name, meaning Old Smoky, in Scots, historically referred to the smoke produced by domestic fires that often covered the city, reflecting its urban atmosphere in past centuries. Which cardinal gifted Hampton Court Palace to King Henry VIII? Cardinal Wolsey. Cardinal Thomas Wolsey, a powerful and influential figure who served as King Henry VIII's chief minister, presented Hampton Court Palace to the monarch in 1529. Wolsey had extensively renovated and expanded the palace, intending it as his personal residence, but gifted it to the king amidst his political downfall to appease him. For what purpose was the Brannock device, invented by Charles F. Brannock, designed? Measuring a person's foot size. The Brannock device is a standard foot measuring tool used globally to accurately determine shoe size. Invented in 1927 by Charles F. Brannock, it measures foot length, arch length, and width, ensuring a proper fit for footwear, which is crucial for foot health and comfort. Which Boeing airliner had its maiden flight in September 1981? Boeing 767. The Boeing 767 is a mid to large size, wide-body twin-jet airliner developed by Boeing Commercial Airplanes. Its maiden flight in September 1981 marked a significant development in commercial aviation, introducing new technologies for its era and becoming a popular choice for medium to long-haul routes. Which marsupial is scientifically known by the Latin name Phascoarctos cinereus? Koala. Phascoarctos cinereus is the scientific, or Latin, name for the koala, an arboreal marsupial native to Australia. This taxonomic classification is essential for precise identification and study in zoology, distinguishing the species universally among the scientific community. Which animal possesses the highest known blood pressure among all mammals globally? Giraffe. Giraffes are notable for having the highest blood pressure among all mammals, typically around 280/180th of a millimeter of mercury. This exceptionally high pressure is vital for pumping blood effectively against gravity from its heart up its extremely long neck to the brain, ensuring adequate blood supply to the entire body. In June 1957, John Diefenbaker became Prime Minister of which country? Canada. John Diefenbaker served as the 13th Prime Minister of Canada from 1957 to 1963. A prominent figure in the Progressive Conservative Party, he is remembered for his Northern Vision and the introduction of the Canadian Bill of Rights. What is a female hippopotamus called? Cow. In zoology, a female hippopotamus is referred to as a cow, mirroring the terminology used for cattle. Male hippos are known as bulls, and their offspring are called calves. What is the name of the full-dress fur hat worn by hussars and foot guard regiments of the British Army? Busby. A busby is a distinctive military fur hat, often cylindrical with a fabric bag, worn as part of the full-dress uniform. It is a traditional component of the ceremonial attire for hussars, artillery, and foot guard regiments, particularly within the British Army. What was discovered in the American River in California in 1848 by carpenter and sawmill operator James W. Marshall? Gold. The discovery of gold by James W. Marshall at Sutter's Mill on the American River in 1848 initiated the historic California Gold Rush. This event had a profound impact, attracting hundreds of thousands of prospectors and significantly accelerating the development and statehood of California. Bess Wallace was the wife of which U.S. president? Harry S. Truman. Bess Wallace was the wife of Harry S. Truman, the 33rd U.S. president. She served as First Lady of the United States from 1945 to 1953, known for her dignified and private demeanor during her time in the White House. The latissimus muscle is located in which part of the human body? Back. The latissimus dorsi is a large, flat muscle covering the breadth of the middle and lower back. It plays a crucial role in various arm movements, including extension, adduction, and internal rotation of the shoulder joint. How many days constitute a sennight? 7, 1 week. A sennight is an archaic term for a period of 7 days, which is equivalent to 1 week. The word originates from Old English, savan nitha, literally meaning 7 nights. Who are the eponymous characters in William Shakespeare's play, The Two Gentlemen of Verona? Valentine and Proteus. The Two Gentlemen of Verona is one of William Shakespeare's early comedies, exploring themes of friendship, loyalty, and love. The play primarily revolves around the contrasting personalities and romantic entanglements of its two main characters, Valentine and Proteus. What is the name of the drunken tinker for whom the induction to William Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew is performed? Christopher Sly. Christopher Sly is a minor character who appears in the induction or frame story of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew. He is a drunken tinker who is tricked into believing he is a lord, and the main play is then performed for his amusement. Lady Rosalind, Lady Maria, and Lady Catherine are characters in which of William Shakespeare's plays? Love's Labour's Lost. These three noble women are prominent characters in William Shakespeare's comedy, Love's Labour's Lost. They are the ladies in waiting to the Princess of France, who arrive in Navarre and become the objects of affection for the king and his lords, who had sworn off female company. In the opening scene of which Shakespearean play does Hermia refuse her father's chosen suitor, Demetrius, preferring to marry Lysander? A Midsummer Night's Dream. This pivotal conflict sets the stage for the magical and romantic complications in William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Hermia's refusal to marry Demetrius and her desire to marry Lysander leads them to flee into the enchanted forest, where they encounter mischievous fairies. In William Shakespeare's play, The Merry Wives of Windsor, what is the name of Sir John Falstaff's page? Robin. Robin is the young page of the notoriously portly and roguish character Sir John Falstaff in The Merry Wives of Windsor. He often carries messages and assists Falstaff in his various schemes, particularly his misguided attempts to woo the wives of Windsor. Which Shakespeare play is set in the port of Messina, on the island of Sicily? Much Ado About Nothing. This question tests knowledge of classical English literature, specifically the settings of Shakespearean plays. Messina, Sicily, is a key geographical and plot element in Much Ado About Nothing, influencing the play's comedic and romantic developments. Who is Rosalind disguised as in the Shakespeare play, As You Like It? Ganymede. This question pertains to character disguise, a common literary device in Shakespearean comedy. Rosalind's disguise as Ganymede in As You Like It allows her to navigate the forest of Arden freely and test Orlando's love without revealing her true identity. What is the name of Hamlet's best friend in the Shakespeare play, Hamlet? Horatio. This question tests knowledge of key characters in one of Shakespeare's most famous tragedies, Hamlet. Horatio serves as Hamlet's loyal confidant and is the sole survivor entrusted to tell Hamlet's story after his death. Which Shakespeare play is also known under the title, What You Will? Twelfth Night. This question highlights the alternative title of a prominent Shakespearean comedy. Twelfth Night, or what you will, refers to the 12th night of Christmas, a traditional time for festivity and revelry, reflecting the play's themes of misrule and mistaken identity. In the Shakespeare play, Othello, what was Othello's first gift to Desdemona? A handkerchief. This question focuses on a crucial symbolic object in Shakespeare's tragedy, Othello. The handkerchief, embroidered with strawberries and imbued with a mystical origin, becomes a central prop in Iago's plot to convince Othello of Desdemona's infidelity. In the Shakespeare play, Macbeth, which character carries Macbeth's head on stage? Macduff. This question delves into a pivotal and dramatic moment in Shakespeare's tragedy, Macbeth. Macduff, who was not of woman born, ultimately confronts and slays Macbeth, bringing his severed head onto the stage as proof of tyranny's end and the restoration of order. The plot of Robert Greene's prose romance, Pandosto, The Triumph of Time, is said to be the inspiration for which Shakespeare play? The Winter's Tale. This question explores the sources and inspirations behind Shakespeare's works, a significant aspect of literary studies. Robert Greene's Pandosto provided the primary narrative framework for The Winter's Tale, showcasing Shakespeare's adaptation of existing popular stories into complex plays. Who wrote the majority of the books of the New Testament of the Bible? Paul. This question pertains to the authorship of foundational religious texts, which is relevant for general knowledge and cultural literacy. Paul, originally Saul of Tarsus, is credited with writing a significant portion of the New Testament epistles, shaping early Christian theology and doctrine. What was the first name of the famous German scientist Einstein? Albert. Albert Einstein was a theoretical physicist who developed the theory of relativity, one of the two pillars of modern physics. He is best known for his mass-energy equivalence formula E = mc², and was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921 for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. Acute viral nasopharyngitis is the medical term for which common ailment? The common cold. Acute viral nasopharyngitis, commonly known as the common cold, is a viral infectious disease of the upper respiratory tract. It is one of the most frequent human diseases and is typically caused by rhinoviruses, coronaviruses, or adenoviruses. Which is the largest city in Asia by population? Shanghai. Shanghai is the largest city in Asia by population within its administrative limits and is also one of the world's most populous cities. It serves as a global financial hub and a major port city located on the Yangtze River Delta in China. Which is the only state in the United States that commercially grows coffee? Hawaii. Hawaii is unique as the only U.S. state with a climate suitable for commercial coffee cultivation. The most famous region for coffee production in Hawaii is Kona, located on the Big Island, renowned for its distinct mild flavor. In the UK, in pre-decimal currency, how many farthings were equivalent to a shilling? 48. Pre-decimal British currency featured a complex system where 1 shilling was equivalent to 12 pence, and 1 penny was equivalent to 4 farthings. Therefore, 1 shilling comprised 48 farthings. This monetary system was eventually replaced by decimalization in 1971. Harrisburg is the capital city of which U.S. state? Pennsylvania. Harrisburg serves as the state capital of Pennsylvania, a prominent administrative and historical city in the United States. It is strategically located on the east bank of the Susquehanna River, playing a significant role in the state's governance. The Teatro La Fenice Opera House is located in which European city? Venice. Teatro La Fenice is a globally renowned opera house situated in Venice, Italy, acclaimed for premiering numerous operas by eminent composers such as Rossini, Bellini, Donizetti, and Verdi. Despite repeated destructions and rebuildings due to fire, it remains a powerful symbol of Venetian cultural heritage. A group of which animals is collectively known as an array. Hedgehogs. Collective nouns are specific terms used to describe a group of animals. An array is the designated collective noun for a group of hedgehogs, illustrating the diverse and often unique terminology in zoology for animal congregations. Chalice, loden, and cheviot are all types of which natural fiber fabric? Wool. Chalice, loden, and cheviot are distinct varieties of wool fabric, each characterized by specific weaves, textures, and origins. Wool is a natural protein fiber derived from sheep and other animals, widely valued in textiles for its warmth, durability, and versatile applications. The 1990 community charge, introduced by the British government, was commonly known by what name? Poll tax. The community charge, widely referred to as the poll tax, was a flat-rate tax introduced in 1990 by the Conservative government in the United Kingdom to replace existing local property taxes. Its extreme unpopularity led to widespread protests and is often cited as a contributing factor to Margaret Thatcher's resignation. Which noble gas, when inhaled, changes a person's voice to sound much higher due to its low density? Helium. When inhaled, helium causes a person's voice to sound significantly higher pitched because it is considerably less dense than air. Sound travels faster through helium, which in turn increases the resonant frequencies of the vocal tract, resulting in a temporary higher vocal tone. The first US execution by lethal injection was carried out in December 1982 in which state? Texas. The first execution by lethal injection in the United States occurred on December 7, 1982, in Texas. This method replaced electrocution as the primary means of capital punishment in many states, marking a significant shift in legal execution practices. Which English author drowned in 1941, after filling her pockets with stones and walking into the river Ouse? Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf, a prominent English modernist writer, tragically died by drowning in the river Ouse in 1941. Her works, including Mrs. Dalloway and To the Lighthouse, are considered classics of feminist literature and stream of consciousness narrative. Hipólito Yrigoyen was the president of which South American country from 1928 to 1930? Argentina. Hipólito Yrigoyen served as president of Argentina during 2 non-consecutive terms, with his second term running from 1928 to 1930. He was a leading figure of the Radical Civic Union and was notable for being the first president elected under universal male suffrage in Argentina. Who succeeded Peter III of Russia in 1762? Catherine II, the Great. Catherine II, famously known as Catherine the Great, succeeded her husband Peter III as Empress of Russia in 1762 following a coup d'état. Her reign, lasting over 3 decades, is often considered a golden age of the Russian Empire, characterized by expansion, Enlightenment policies, and cultural flourishing. What was the first commercial product to be made with nylon yarn in February 1938? Toothbrush. Nylon, a synthetic polymer, was developed by DuPont and first commercialized in 1938. Its inaugural product was the toothbrush, demonstrating its early utility in consumer goods before its widespread application in textiles like stockings and parachutes during World War II. In Greek mythology, what were the man-eating creatures Hercules had to defeat as one of his 12 labors? Stymphalian birds. The Stymphalian birds were monstrous, man-eating creatures with bronze beaks and metallic feathers in Greek mythology. Hercules' sixth labor involved driving them away from Lake Stymphalus, a task he accomplished with the aid of Athena and Hephaestus. Samedi is the French word for which day of the week? Saturday. The word samedi in French, meaning Saturday, originates from the Latin dies Sabbathi, referring to the Sabbath day. This linguistic connection highlights the historical and religious influences on European calendar systems. The Scottish village of Ullapool lies on the shore of which loch? Loch Broom. Ullapool is a picturesque fishing village and a ferry port situated in the Highlands of Scotland. It is located on the eastern shore of Loch Broom, which is a sea loch characteristic of the deeply indented coastline of northwestern Scotland. In May 1990, portrait of Dr. Gachet, by which artist was sold at auction for a record $82.5 million. Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh's Portrait of Dr. Gachet is one of his most celebrated works, painted in the final months of his life. Its sale in 1990 for $82.5 million set a world record for the highest price ever paid for a painting at that time, underscoring its immense artistic and historical value. Who wrote the 1869 novel, War and Peace? Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace is an epic novel published in 1869, renowned for its panoramic scope and historical detail, chronicling the French invasion of Russia and the impact of the Napoleonic era on Tsarist society. It is considered one of the greatest literary works of all time, blending historical narrative with philosophical contemplation. In medicine, ptosis affects which part of the body? Eyelid. Ptosis refers to the drooping of an upper eyelid, a medical condition that can affect one or both eyes. It can be caused by various factors, including muscle weakness, nerve damage, or a congenital condition, and in severe cases, it can impair vision. What type of creature is a dragonet? Fish. Dragonets are a family of small, often colorful marine fish belonging to the order Syngnathiformes, which also includes seahorses and pipefishes. They are typically found in tropical and subtropical waters, inhabiting sandy or muddy bottoms where they feed on small invertebrates. The Katha castles are in which European country? France. The Katha castles are a group of medieval fortresses in Languedoc, southern France, historically associated with the Cathars, a dualist Christian movement in the 12th–14th centuries. These castles served as strongholds during the Albigensian Crusade, a papal campaign aimed at eradicating Catharism. What is the official language of the Canadian province Quebec? French. French is the sole official language of the Canadian province of Quebec, a legacy of its colonial history as New France. The Charter of the French language, also known as Bill 101, reinforces the prominence of French in public life and institutions within the province. British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan was the leader of which political party? Conservative Party. Harold Macmillan served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1957 to 1963, leading the Conservative Party. His premiership was marked by economic growth, decolonization, and the famous Wind of Change speech signaling the end of the British Empire. The Biskupen Open Air Museum is a life-size model of a prehistoric settlement in which European country? Poland. The Biskupen Open Air Museum in Poland features a reconstructed Iron Age fortified settlement dating back to around 700–400 BC. It is one of Europe's most significant archaeological sites, providing extensive insights into early Slavic culture and prehistoric Central European life. Stone walls do not make, is a line from a poem by 17th century poet Richard Lovelace. Prison. Richard Lovelace was a prominent Cavalier poet of the 17th century. The line, "Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage," is from his poem, To Althea, from Prison, emphasizing freedom of the spirit even in confinement. BW is the international vehicle registration for which country? Botswana. International vehicle registration codes are used to identify the country of origin of a vehicle in international traffic. BW specifically designates Botswana, an African nation known for its stable democracy and significant diamond industry. In Judaism, what is the collective name for the 10 people required to be present in order for a communal religious service to be conducted? Minyan. In Judaism, a minyan is the quorum of 10 Jewish adults, traditionally men, though some modern movements include women, required for certain religious obligations and communal prayers. Its presence signifies a full congregation, enabling specific blessings and rituals. The dish kimchi, or gichi, is a traditional vegetable side dish of which country? Korea. Kimchi is a staple Korean side dish made of salted and fermented Napa cabbage and Korean radish, typically seasoned with gochugaru, chili powder, garlic, ginger, and scallions. It is a fundamental part of Korean cuisine and culture, recognized for its distinctive flavor and health benefits. On the 31st of March 1990, the Second Battle of Trafalgar was the largest protest in England against what? Poll tax, community charge. The Second Battle of Trafalgar refers to the poll tax riot that occurred in London on March 31, 1990. It was a massive protest against the community charge, an unpopular flat-rate tax introduced by Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government, which ultimately contributed to her downfall. Who was Bill Clinton's running mate in the 1992 US presidential election? Al Gore. In the 1992 US presidential election, Bill Clinton, then governor of Arkansas, ran with Al Gore, a senator from Tennessee, as his vice presidential running mate. Their victory ended 12 years of Republican rule and ushered in a new era for the Democratic Party. In August 1990, which late American composer and conductor had his final concert at Tanglewood in Massachusetts, with the Boston Symphony Orchestra? Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein was one of the most significant figures in 20th century classical music, renowned as a composer, conductor, and educator. His final concert, a performance of Beethoven's Symphony No. 7 with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, took place just 2 months before his death in October 1990. In April 1993, the World Health Organization declared which disease a global health emergency? Tuberculosis. In 1993, the World Health Organization, WHO, declared tuberculosis, TB, a global health emergency due to its alarming resurgence and the growing threat of drug-resistant strains. This declaration highlighted the urgent need for international efforts to combat the disease, which remains a major public health challenge worldwide. Who won the World Chess Championship in December 1990, holding his title? Garry Kasparov. Garry Kasparov is a legendary chess grandmaster who dominated the sport for decades. His victory in the 1990 World Chess Championship against Anatoly Karpov solidified his position as one of the greatest players in history. What was the call sign of the 8-man British Army SAS patrol deployed into Iraq during the First Gulf War in January 1991? Bravo 20. Bravo 20 was the call sign for an 8-man British SAS patrol during the First Gulf War in January 1991. The mission, intended for reconnaissance and destruction of Scud missile launches, became one of the most famous and controversial Special Forces operations due to its disastrous outcome. Edward of Woodstock, the Black Prince, was the father of which English monarch? King Richard II. Edward of Woodstock, famously known as the Black Prince, was the eldest son of King Edward III of England. He predeceased his father, meaning the crown passed to his son, Richard II, who became king in 1377. Former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair was born in which British city? Edinburgh. Tony Blair, a prominent figure in British politics, served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1997 to 2007. His birthplace, Edinburgh, Scotland, is a significant biographical detail for a world leader. In June 1972, Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney founded which electronics and video games company? Atari. Atari was a pioneering American company in the video game industry, founded in 1972. It played a pivotal role in the early development and popularization of arcade games, home video game consoles, and personal computers, significantly shaping the digital entertainment landscape. Children with the medical condition hyperlexia have an advanced ability to do what? Read. Hyperlexia is a developmental condition characterized by an advanced ability to read words far above expected age levels, often despite significant difficulties in understanding spoken language and social interactions. It is frequently observed in individuals with autism spectrum disorder. Shan, or Shuan, paper is commonly known by what name? Rice paper. Shan paper, often referred to as rice paper, is a high-quality paper originating from Shanzhou, China, traditionally used for Chinese painting and calligraphy. Celebrated for its fine, soft texture, and resistance to aging, it allows for unique ink absorption and artistic expression. Dorado is Spanish for which color? Gold. Dorado is a Spanish word meaning golden or gilded, often used to describe the color gold. This term is famously associated with the mythical lost city of El Dorado, the Golden One, which fueled numerous expeditions by European explorers in South America. Who returned to office as Canadian Prime Minister in March 1980? Pierre Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau served as the 15th Prime Minister of Canada. He first held office from 1968 to 1979 and then returned for a second term from 1980 to 1984, making him a significant figure in Canadian political history. Which electronics company released the world's first all-electric compact calculator in 1957? Casio. Casio, a Japanese multinational electronics company, pioneered the development of compact electronic calculators. Their 1957 model, the Casio 14A, was a significant innovation, revolutionizing computing technology and making it more accessible. The original lyrics of the folk song, Waltzing Matilda, were written by which Australian poet in 1895? Banjo Paterson. Waltzing Matilda is Australia's most famous bush ballad and unofficial national anthem. Banjo Paterson, a celebrated Australian poet, penned the original lyrics in 1895, capturing the spirit of Australian folklore and identity. What is the nickname of the UFC, Uniting for Consensus, which was developed in the 1990s in opposition to the possible expansion of the United Nations Security Council? The Coffee Club. The Uniting for Consensus (UFC) group, often nicknamed the Coffee Club, is a movement primarily comprising states that oppose the expansion of permanent seats in the United Nations Security Council. This group advocates for alternative reform models, such as increasing non-permanent seats, to ensure greater regional representation and equitable power distribution. The name of which region in India means, Land of Five Rivers? Punjab. The name, Punjab, is derived from two Persian words, Panj, five, and Ab, water or rivers, literally meaning, Land of Five Rivers. These five rivers are the Bees, Chenab, Jhelum, Ravi, and Satluj, which are tributaries of the Indus River system. Provolone is what type of foodstuff? Cheese. Provolone is an Italian cheese that is semi-hard and typically made from cow's milk. It is a stretched curd cheese, known for its mild flavor when young, dolce, and sharper taste when aged, picante. Which British monarch was the grandfather of Queen Victoria? King George III. King George III reigned from 1760 to 1820 and was a significant figure in British history, known for his long reign and the loss of the American colonies. He was the paternal grandfather of Queen Victoria, whose reign began in 1837. Bole International Airport is located in which African country? Ethiopia. Bole International Airport, AD, serves Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, and is the primary hub for Ethiopian Airlines. It is one of the busiest airports in Africa, crucial for regional and international travel and trade. In the United States, which state borders Kansas to the south? Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a state in the south-central region of the United States. It shares its northern border with Kansas, forming part of the geographic mosaic of the American Midwest and Southwest. Which is the seventh planet from the Sun? Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun, orbiting at an average distance of about 2.9 billion kilometers. It is an ice giant, known for its unique axial tilt, which causes its poles to experience extreme seasons. In the Jewish calendar, what is the ninth month of the civil year called? Sivan. Sivan is the ninth month of the civil year and the third month of the ecclesiastical year on the Hebrew calendar. It usually falls in May to June of the Gregorian calendar and is notably the month when the holiday of Shavuot is celebrated. In which year did the British government decriminalize homosexual acts? 1967. The Sexual Offences Act 1967 decriminalised homosexual acts in private between men aged 21 or over in England and Wales. This landmark legislation marked a pivotal moment in the history of LGBTQ+ rights in the United Kingdom. Originating in the Philippines, what is a bolo? Knife, machete. A bolo is a large cutting tool, similar to a machete, primarily used in the Philippines. It is traditionally employed for agricultural purposes, such as clearing vegetation, and has also historically been used as a weapon. Who became Scotland's longest-serving First Minister in November 2012? Alex Salmond. Alex Salmond served as the First Minister of Scotland from 2007 to 2014, becoming the longest-serving incumbent in that role by November 2012. He was a prominent figure in the Scottish National Party and led the campaign for Scottish independence in the 2014 referendum. Anthony van Dyck was the court painter for which English monarch? King Charles I. Sir Anthony van Dyck was a Flemish Baroque artist who became the leading court painter in England under King Charles I. He is renowned for his elegant portraits of the English aristocracy, which significantly influenced English portraiture for the following 150 years. At which English port did Captain James Cook commence his training as a seaman in the 18th century? Whitby. Captain James Cook, a renowned British explorer, began his maritime career in Whitby, England, during the 18th century. His early experiences in this port town were foundational to his later groundbreaking voyages of discovery. Which analgesic naturally occurs in the bark of the cinchona tree? Quinine. Quinine is a natural alkaloid found in the bark of the cinchona tree, historically significant for its antimalarial properties. It also possesses analgesic and antipyretic effects, making it a valuable compound in medicine. During which month of the year is National Heroes Day celebrated in Barbados? April. National Heroes Day is a significant public holiday in Barbados, observed every year in April to honor the nation's past and present heroes. This day commemorates individuals who have made monumental contributions to the country's development and independence. Ankara is the capital city of which country? Turkey. Ankara is the capital city of Turkey, located in the central Anatolia region. It became the capital in 1923, succeeding Istanbul, Constantinople, and is a crucial political and administrative center for the nation. What was the first name of P.G.T. Beauregard, the first prominent general of the Confederate States Army in the American Civil War? Pierre Gustave Toutant Beauregard was a distinguished general of the Confederate States Army during the American Civil War. He is notable for commanding the Confederate forces at the First Battle of Bull Run, Manassas, a pivotal early engagement of the war. What is the largest gulf in the world? Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico is the world's largest gulf, an arm of the Atlantic Ocean, bounded by North America. It is a vital body of water for maritime trade, fishing, and energy resources for the surrounding countries. Tipperary is located in which European country? Ireland. County Tipperary is a historic county in the province of Munster in Ireland. It is one of the largest counties by area and is known for its rich agricultural land and historical sites, including the Rock of Cashel. Madras was the former name of which Indian city? Chennai. Madras was the historical name of Chennai, the capital city of the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. The city's name was officially changed to Chennai in 1996 to reflect local linguistic traditions and identity. Prince Albert, husband of British monarch Queen Victoria, was born in which modern-day country? Germany. Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha was born in the Duchy of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld, a territory within present-day Germany. His marriage to Queen Victoria in 1840 significantly influenced British culture and politics, and he became a pivotal figure in the Victorian era. The countries Ghana, Nigeria and Kenya are all in which continent? Africa. Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya are all sovereign nations situated on the continent of Africa. These countries are vital economic and cultural centers in West and East Africa, respectively, playing significant roles in regional and international affairs. The caber, kilts and bagpipes are all associated with which European country? Scotland. Caber tossing, kilts, and bagpipes are iconic cultural elements deeply rooted in the traditions of Scotland. These symbols are central to Scottish heritage, particularly celebrated during Highland Games and traditional festivals. A fruiterer is a keeper of which animals? Dogs. A fruiterer is an archaic term referring to a person responsible for keeping or training hunting dogs, specifically greyhounds. This historical occupation was vital for aristocratic and sporting pursuits involving coursing. The English resort of Broadstairs is in which county? Kent. Broadstairs is a charming coastal resort town located in the county of Kent, in the southeast of England. It is renowned for its sandy beaches, chalk cliffs, and historical association with the author Charles Dickens. In pre-decimal currency in the UK, how many florins were in a pound? 10. In the pre-decimal currency system used in the United Kingdom until 1971, a florin was worth 2 shillings, and there were 10 florins in 1 pound. This system involved pounds, shillings, and pence, with 20 shillings to a pound and 12 pence to a shilling. Bald-faced hornet is another name for which insect? Wasp. The bald-faced hornet, Dolichowespula maculata, is a North American social wasp known for its distinctive black and white markings. Despite its common name, it is a species of yellow jacket rather than a true hornet, belonging to the family Vespidae. Choiseul, Guadalcanal and Malaita are all part of which island group? Solomon Islands. Choiseul, Guadalcanal, and Malaita are major islands within the Solomon Islands archipelago, an independent nation in Oceania. Guadalcanal is particularly notable as the site of a significant World War II campaign. Which British politician was the first person to be made an honorary citizen of the United States of America? Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was granted honorary citizenship of the United States in 1963 by President John F. Kennedy. This unique honor recognized his profound contributions to Anglo-American relations and his leadership during World War II. In Greek mythology, who went to Colchis to bring the golden fleece back to Boeotia? Jason. In Greek mythology, Jason was the leader of the Argonauts, a band of heroes who sailed on the ship Argo to the distant land of Colchis. Their quest was to retrieve the golden fleece, a symbol of kingship and authority, at the behest of Pelias, Jason's uncle and usurper of his throne. Who became leader of the British Liberal Party in July 1976? David Steele. David Steele became the leader of the British Liberal Party in July 1976, succeeding Jeremy Thorpe amidst scandal. He led the party into the famous Lib Lab pact with James Callaghan's Labour government in 1977, preventing a vote of no confidence. The heart of the 19th century composer Chopin is said to be preserved in which liquid? Cognac. The heart of the renowned 19th century Polish composer Frédéric Chopin is famously preserved in a jar of cognac. Following his death in Paris in 1849, his sister Ludwika carried his heart back to Warsaw, where it is now interred in a pillar of the Holy Cross Church. The kroon was the monetary unit of which European country? Estonia. The Estonian kroon was the official currency of Estonia from 1992 until 2011, when it was replaced by the euro. This transition was part of Estonia's broader integration into the European Union's economic system. In medical terminology, albuminophobia is the specific fear related to a disease of which organ? Kidney. Albuminophobia is defined as the irrational fear of having albuminuria, a condition where albumin, a protein, is present in the urine. This condition often indicates kidney disease or damage, as healthy kidneys typically prevent albumin from passing into the urine. What is the common term for a female antelope? Doe. In zoology, the term doe is commonly used to refer to the adult female of various animal species, including deer, goats, rabbits, kangaroos, and antelopes. The male counterpart for these species is typically called a buck. What is the typical color of a mature coffee berry? Red. Coffee beans are actually seeds found inside the fruit of the coffee plant, which is known as a coffee cherry or coffee berry. When fully ripe and ready for harvest, these berries typically turn a vibrant red color, though some varieties may ripen to yellow or orange. Which painter had a blue period? Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso's blue period, 1901 to 1904, was characterized by melancholic paintings predominantly in shades of blue and blue-green, reflecting his personal struggles and themes of poverty, loneliness, and despair. This period followed the death of his close friend Carl Casagemas and is considered crucial in his artistic development, leading to his subsequent Rose period in Cubism. Which prehistoric period preceded the Bronze Age? Stone Age. The Stone Age is the earliest known period of human prehistory, characterized by the use of stone tools. It predates the Bronze Age, which saw the widespread use of bronze, and the Iron Age, marked by the use of iron. This chronological order is fundamental to understanding early human technological and cultural development. What is the capital of the Principality of Liechtenstein? Vaduz. Vaduz is the capital of Liechtenstein, a small, landlocked principality located in the Alps between Austria and Switzerland. It is the seat of the national parliament and home to the Prince of Liechtenstein's residence, Vaduz Castle, which overlooks the city. If something is squamous, what is it covered in? Scales. The term squamous in biology refers to cells that are flat and plate-like, forming a protective layer, such as squamous epithelium found in the skin and lining of many organs. More generally, it can describe something covered in scales or scale-like structures, derived from the Latin squama, meaning scale. How many blue stripes are on the national flag of Thailand? 1. The national flag of Thailand, known as the Tom Trarong, features 5 horizontal stripes of red, white, blue, white, and red. The central blue stripe is twice the width of the other stripes and symbolizes the monarchy, flanked by white, religion, and red, nation. What was former US President Richard Nixon's profession in 1937? Attorney. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, began his professional career as an attorney after graduating from Duke University School of Law in 1937. He practiced law in Whittier, California, before serving in the Navy during World War II and subsequently entering politics, eventually becoming a congressman, senator, vice president, and president. Which scientist wrote a letter to a friend in 1704 predicting the end of the world in 2060? Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton, one of the most influential scientists of all time, is renowned for his laws of motion and universal gravitation. While primarily a physicist and mathematician, he also delved into theology and alchemy, predicting the world's end in 2060 based on his interpretation of biblical chronology. Vitis is the Latin name for which fruit-bearing plant? Grape vine. Vitis is the genus of flowering plants in the family Vitaceae, comprising approximately 80 species. The most economically important species, Vitis vinifera, is cultivated worldwide for its fruit, the grape, used primarily in winemaking and as a fresh fruit. Jan Fischer became Prime Minister of which country in 2009? Czech Republic. Jan Fischer served as the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic from May 2009 to July 2010. He led a caretaker government during a period of political instability, ensuring smooth governance and preparing the country for early elections. Which British monarch said of his son, "After I am dead, the boy will ruin himself in 12 months"? King George V. King George V made this prophetic remark about his eldest son and heir, Edward VIII. Edward's controversial relationship with Wallis Simpson led to his abdication in 1936, less than a year after his father's death, confirming George V's anxieties about his son's judgment and impact on the monarchy. Which U.S. state is known as the Sooner State? Oklahoma. Oklahoma earned its nickname, the Sooner State, from the Sooners, settlers who entered the unassigned lands in what is now Oklahoma before the official opening of the land run of 1889. These individuals staked claims illegally ahead of time, often hiding out until the designated starting gun. What does the Latin phrase, scientia est potentia, translate to in English? Knowledge is power. The Latin aphorism, scientia est potentia, meaning, knowledge is power, is commonly attributed to Sir Francis Bacon. This phrase underscores the fundamental belief that possessing knowledge or information is a source of influence, control, and advantage in various aspects of life. Astrophobia is the irrational fear of which weather condition? Thunder and lightning. Astrophobia is a specific type of phobia characterized by an intense and irrational fear of thunder and lightning. Individuals suffering from astrophobia may experience severe anxiety, panic attacks, and a compelling need to seek shelter during storms. How many violins are in a string quartet? 2. A standard string quartet is a musical ensemble consisting of 4 string instruments. These typically include 2 violins, first and second, 1 viola, and 1 cello, forming a balanced and versatile chamber music group. What was the first name of Marconi, the Italian inventor known for his pioneering work on long-distance radio transmission? Guglielmo. Guglielmo Marconi was an Italian inventor and electrical engineer widely credited for his groundbreaking work on long-distance radio transmission and the development of a practical radio telegraph system. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1909 for his contributions to wireless telegraphy. Statins are drugs which lower what in the blood? Cholesterol. Statins are a class of medications primarily used to lower levels of low-density lipoprotein, LDL, cholesterol, often referred to as bad cholesterol, in the blood. They work by inhibiting an enzyme in the liver that is crucial for cholesterol production, thereby reducing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. In mathematics, how many degrees are in a straight angle? 180. In geometry, a straight angle is defined as an angle that measures exactly 180 degrees. It forms a straight line, with its vertex positioned on that line, and represents half of a full rotation. Fleece flower, monkey fungus and Hancock's curse are all names for which invasive Asian plant? Japanese knotweed. Japanese knotweed, Fallopia japonica, is a highly invasive plant species native to East Asia, notorious for its rapid growth and extensive root system. It poses significant threats to biodiversity, infrastructure, and native ecosystems, leading to its various descriptive common names. The Bay of Fundy, which has the highest tides in the world, is mainly in which country? Canada. The Bay of Fundy, located on the Atlantic coast of North America, is primarily situated between the Canadian provinces of New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. It is globally recognized for experiencing the highest tidal range in the world, with tides that can reach up to 16 meters. Parker and Barrow were the surnames of which U.S. outlaw duo? Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow were infamous American outlaws who traveled the central United States with their gang during the Great Depression. They were known for their bank robberies, murders, and sensationalized media coverage, becoming symbols of the era's crime wave. The Smithsonian Institution, the world's largest museum and research center, is in which U.S. city? Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian Institution is a group of museums and research centers administered by the U.S. government. Established in 1846, it serves as a trustee of the United States and is a global leader in scientific research and public education. How many times did Stanley Baldwin become British Prime Minister? 3. Stanley Baldwin served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom 3 times between 1923 and 1937, leading the Conservative Party. He is a significant figure in interwar British politics, known for navigating economic challenges and the abdication crisis. Which planet has the strongest gravity in our solar system? Jupiter. Jupiter, being the most massive planet in our solar system, possesses the strongest gravitational pull. Its immense mass, more than twice the mass of all other planets combined, is the primary factor determining its powerful gravitational field. What is a castrated man, often placed in charge of a harem, typically called? Eunuch. A eunuch is a castrated man, historically employed in various roles, often as guards of harems or in administrative positions in many ancient and imperial courts. Their castration was intended to ensure loyalty and prevent procreation, particularly in contexts involving royal women or confidential affairs. Aphalasia is more commonly known by what term beginning with C? Celibacy. Celibacy is the state of voluntarily abstaining from marriage, sexual relations, or both, usually for religious or personal reasons. It is often associated with monastic life or spiritual devotion in various cultures and religions worldwide. In males, prostatectomy is the surgical removal of what? Foreskin. Prostatectomy is the surgical removal of the foreskin, a procedure more commonly known as circumcision. This practice is performed for religious, cultural, or medical reasons, with historical roots dating back thousands of years across various civilizations. Who authored the 18th century novels, Justine, or The Misfortunes of Virtue, and Philosophy in the Bedroom? Marquis de Sade. Donatien Alphonse François, Marquis de Sade, was an 18th century French nobleman, writer, and philosopher known for his libertine novels. His works, including Justine and Philosophy in the Bedroom, explore themes of sexual perversion, cruelty, and moral transgressions, giving rise to the term sadism. Dicterides, aletrides, and heterae were all classes of what group in ancient Greece? Prostitutes, courtesans. In ancient Greece, these terms referred to different categories of women involved in sex work or entertainment, with heterae being highly educated courtesans who often engaged with prominent men. These classifications provide insight into the social structures and gender roles prevalent in classical Greek society. Which two countries border Bhutan? China and India. Bhutan, a sovereign state in the eastern Himalayas, is landlocked and shares its northern border with China. To its south, east, and west, it shares extensive borders with India, making these two nations its primary neighbors. In May 1990, what did the World Health Organization, WHO, remove from its list of mental disorders? Homosexuality. On May 17, 1990, the World Health Organization officially removed homosexuality from its International Classification of Diseases, ICD. This crucial decision marked a significant global step in destigmatizing homosexuality and affirming it is not a mental illness. If I should die, think only this of me, that there is some corner of a foreign field. That is Forever England, is from which poem by Rupert Brooke? The Soldier. The Soldier is one of the most famous war poems by Rupert Brooke, written in 1914. It is an idealistic sonnet that reflects the patriotic sentiments prevalent at the beginning of World War I, expressing a profound love for England and the belief in dying for one's country. Who was elected Prime Minister of Australia in March 1983? Bob Hawke. Bob Hawke was a highly influential Australian Prime Minister, serving from 1983 to 1991. His Labour government implemented significant economic and social reforms, including floating the Australian dollar and introducing Medicare. Tonitrophobia is the fear of which weather condition? Thunder. Tonitrophobia, also known as brontophobia or coronaphobia, is an intense and irrational fear of thunder and lightning. It is a specific phobia that can cause significant distress and anxiety in affected individuals during storms. Which element has the lowest boiling point? Helium. Helium has the lowest boiling point of all elements at approximately -268.93 degrees Celsius, -452.07 degrees Fahrenheit. This extremely low temperature is due to its weak interatomic forces, requiring very little energy to overcome them and transition from liquid to gas.